April 16, 1945. The air in Colditz Castle hangs heavy, thick with anticipation and the metallic tang of approaching war. Deep within the ancient, formidable walls of WWII, a maximum security German prisoner of war camp, a desperate plan reaches its precipice. British Flight Lieutenant Bill Goldfinch and his dedicated team stand poised on the brink of an audacious escape, a final, desperate gamble for freedom. Their vessel, a homemade glider, meticulously crafted in secret, hidden in the castle's attic. Tomorrow, they plan to launch it from the chapel roof, soaring silently over the Nazi guards, over the River Mulde, and into the unknown. But as the final hours tick away, the roar of distant American artillery grows louder, a symphony of liberation that threatens to render their extraordinary effort obsolete. Will their magnificent machine ever take flight, or will freedom arrive in a way no one could have ever predicted? The man at the heart of this impossible dream is Flight Lieutenant Leslie James Edward Goldfinch, known simply as Bill. Born in Whitstable, Kent, on July 19, 1916, Goldfinch is an engineer by training, a meticulous mind with an innate understanding of mechanics and design. Before the war, he served as a second lieutenant in the Royal Engineers from 1935 to 1939. A foundation that would prove invaluable in the dire circumstances to come. With the outbreak of World War II, Goldfinch enlisted in the Royal Air Force, taking to the skies as a pilot. His journey to Colditz is a testament to the brutal realities of aerial combat and the capricious nature of fate. In April 1941, flying short Sunderlands with No. 228 Squadron, Goldfinch participates in the perilous evacuation of Greece. On April 25, 1941, during a mission to rescue 52 RAF men, his Sunderland is grossly overloaded, carrying 72 individuals as it struggles to take off from Kalamata. After a 5-mile run, it finally lifts into the air, heading for Souda Bay, Crete. Immediately ordered back to Kalamata, the aircraft attempts a landing in the dark. In the treacherous conditions, the Sunderland strikes an underwater object and sinks. From a crew of 10, only 4 survive. Goldfinch, badly injured, is among them. He is transported to a military hospital, where he encounters another injured airman, Jack Best. But their respite is brief. The hospital is soon overrun and captured by advancing German forces, and Goldfinch becomes a prisoner of war. His first internment is at Stalag Luft III, a camp renowned for its escape attempts. There, with Best and Henry, Piglet, Lamond, he makes a failed escape bid, tunneling outside the perimeter and attempting to use a rowing boat on the Oder River, only to be recaptured. This failure, however, marks him as a persistent escape risk. Consequently, Goldfinch and Best are transferred to WWII, the infamous Colditz Castle. Colditz is no ordinary prison. Perched atop a rocky outcrop, overlooking the Zwickauer Mulde River in Saxony, Germany, it is an 11th-century fortress transformed into a high-security prison camp for Allied officers who have repeatedly tried to escape from other facilities. It houses the «bad boys» of the Allied forces, a collection of the most determined and ingenious escape artists. With walls up to 7 feet thick, a deep moat, and a single, heavily guarded access road, Colditz is deemed virtually escape-proof. Barbed wire and floodlights crisscross its perimeter, and sentries patrol every inch, changing shifts frequently to prevent any predictable patterns. The Germans believe they have found the ultimate lockup for their most troublesome captives. Yet, within these seemingly impenetrable confines, Goldfinch and his comrades will conceive an escape plan so audacious, it will defy belief. The idea of an aerial escape from Colditz is met with immediate profound skepticism. The very notion seems absurd, a fantasy born of desperation. No one truly believes it can be done. The castle stands hundreds of feet above the town, its walls formidable, its courtyards enclosed. How could a flying machine be built, let alone launched, from such a place? The odds appear impossible. The initial spark of this extraordinary idea ignites in December 1943. Bill Goldfinch observes snowflakes outside his window, noting how they drift upwards in the wind currents over the castle roof. A thought, radical and daring, forms in his engineering mind. Perhaps a glider could harness these updrafts, taking flight from the very top of their prison. He identifies the chapel roof as an ideal, hidden launch point, concealed from the watchful eyes of the German guards. But this is Colditz, a place where escape plans are constantly conceived and routinely crushed. The castle's reputation as inescapable is well earned. Previous attempts have involved tunnels, disguises, and even human catapults, with only a fraction achieving freedom. The senior British officers, accustomed to ingenious but grounded schemes, are hesitant to endorse such a fantastical project. The resources required, materials, manpower, and the sheer audacity of the undertaking, are immense, and failure could lead to severe repercussions for all prisoners. Lieutenant Tony Rolt, a racing driver and fellow prisoner, also independently conceives of a glider escape, noticing the chapel roof's obscured sightlines. He champions the idea, approaching Goldfinch to draft the plans. Goldfinch, with his engineering background, is the perfect candidate to turn this wild concept into a tangible design. He presents his initial sketches to Dick Howe, the pragmatic head of the prison's escape committee. Howe, a man who has seen countless elaborate schemes, listens patiently, his expression betraying little. The committee scrutinizes every detail, every calculation. The risks are astronomical. Discovery means punishment, the confiscation of precious hidden tools, and the crushing of morale. The sheer scale of the project, requiring hundreds of hidden pieces in a secret workshop, seems insurmountable in a prison where guards conduct frequent, thorough inspections. They are all wrong. The skepticism, the impossible odds, the formidable security, none of it can extinguish the flame of ingenuity and the burning desire for freedom. Goldfinch and Best, armed with a smuggled textbook on aeronautical design, aircraft design, by C.H. Latimer Needham, begin to meticulously work out the specifications for their audacious craft. This isn't a childish fantasy, it is a serious engineering challenge, undertaken in the most extreme circumstances. They envision a two-person glider, capable of carrying a pilot and one passenger. The wings must generate enough lift to clear the castle walls, which stand more than 300 feet above the town, and carry them across the Mulde River. Goldfinch begins to draw up detailed plans, transforming the abstract idea into a concrete blueprint for defiance. The Colditz cock is born, a silent feathered harbinger of hope, destined to challenge the very definition of an inescapable prison. With the escape committee's reluctant approval, the project gains official, albeit clandestine, sanction. Goldfinch, the chief designer, and Jack Best, his closest collaborator and fellow engineer, form the core of Colditz Heavy Industries Inc. Their first crucial step is to gather the theoretical knowledge. The prison library, surprisingly, yields a pivotal resource: C.H. Latimer Needham's aircraft design. This textbook becomes their Bible, its pages devoured in secret, providing the aerodynamic principles and structural formulas needed to design a functional glider. Goldfinch meticulously translates these complex equations into practical blueprints, sketching out the craft's dimensions: a length of 19 feet 9 inches, a wingspan of 32 feet, and an empty weight of 240 pounds. He calculates the performance, aiming for a stall speed of 32 miles per hour and a rate of sink of 4 feet per second. These are not mere estimations. They are precise engineering targets for a machine that must perform flawlessly on its maiden, and only, flight. The next challenge is finding a suitable location for construction. Building a glider of this size, even in disassembled parts, is an enormous undertaking within the confines of a heavily guarded castle. Goldfinch and Best initially begin work in their rooms, but this is clearly unsustainable. A permanent, hidden workshop is essential. Their eyes turn to an unused attic, strategically located adjacent to the chapel roof, their intended launch site. Here, a team of prisoners, using their ingenuity, constructs a false wall at one end of the attic. They fashion it from shutters and a paste made from attic dust, creating a remarkably convincing deception. The false wall effectively shortens the attic by 8 feet, creating a secret chamber large enough to accommodate the glider's largest components. To access this hidden space, they build a trapdoor in the floor of the secret workshop, ensuring discreet entry and exit. The logistical hurdles are immense. Materials must be acquired, tools fashioned, and the entire operation kept absolutely secret from the German guards, or goons, as the prisoners call them. The men of Colditz are masters of improvisation. For the glider's main supports, the spars, they covertly remove floorboards from various parts of the castle. Bed slats become the delicate ribs of the wings. Control wires are meticulously appropriated from electrical wiring in unused sections of the castle. The process of crafting tools is equally inventive. A simple table knife is transformed into a plane for shaping wood. Nails are painstakingly ground down to create drills. Handles for saws are carved from bed boards, while saw blades themselves are fashioned from the spring of a wind-up gramophone player and even the iron frames around window bars. These crude instruments are used to shape and refine the hundreds of individual pieces required for the glider's construction. The skin of the glider presents another formidable problem. It needs to be lightweight yet strong, flexible yet rigid. The solution comes from the most readily available fabric: bedsheets. These are carefully unpicked, sewn together, and then stiffened with a unique doping agent, hot millet porridge, a part of their meager rations. This unusual paste, once dried, creates a surprisingly taut and aerodynamic surface. The men work with incredible precision, each seam, each joint, a testament to their dedication. The workforce expands. Goldfinch and Best lead a core team of 12 assistants, affectionately known as the Apostles, working directly on the glider's construction in the attic workshop. Beyond them, a larger network of around 40 stooges acts as lookouts, providing an early warning system against unexpected inspections. The constant threat of discovery hangs over them. A misplaced tool, a suspicious sound, an incomplete task, any of these could betray their monumental secret. To mask the sounds of sawing, hammering, and sanding, the prisoners exploit the castle's routine. Musical rehearsals, often loud and enthusiastic, become a crucial cover. The cacophony of amateur orchestras and choirs reverberating through the castle walls effectively drowns out the quieter, more clandestine noises emanating from the attic. This coordinated effort requires immense discipline and intricate timing. As the months pass, the glider slowly takes shape. Each component is crafted with painstaking care, then carefully disassembled and hidden within the secret workshop. The wings, the fuselage, the tail, all emerge from the most unlikely materials, a patchwork of prison life transformed into a potential instrument of freedom. The men work in short, intense bursts, constantly aware of the patrolling guards, the creak of floorboards, the distant shouts that might signal an inspection. The design of the launch mechanism is as ingenious as the glider itself. The chapel roof, chosen for its height and relative seclusion, will serve as the runway. A 60-foot-long runway is planned, constructed from tables meticulously joined together. The glider needs to reach a speed of at least 30 miles per hour, or 40 miles per hour according to other sources, to achieve liftoff. The solution: a gravity-assisted catapult system. A heavy metal bathtub, filled with concrete, will act as a counterweight. This tub, attached to a system of ropes and pulleys, will be dropped 5 stories from the roof, its plummeting weight providing the necessary acceleration to propel the glider along the makeshift runway and into the air. The plan is for the tub to release just as the glider reaches the edge of the roof, sending it soaring over the town of Colditz and across the River Mulde, landing in a green field approximately 500 yards away. The detailed planning extends to every aspect of the escape. British pilot Lorne Welch, known for his role in the Great Escape from Stalag Luft 3, performs stress tests on the glider's components, ensuring its structural integrity. The men consider wind conditions, updrafts, and potential landing zones. They even devise a method to create a hole in the attic wall on the day of the flight, allowing them to haul the assembled glider onto the roof for its final preparation. The morale within the camp fluctuates. Hope and despair are constant companions. The Colditz cock becomes a powerful symbol, a secret testament to human resilience. Yet, the war continues to rage outside their walls, and the fate of the glider, and indeed their own freedom, remains uncertain. The whispers of Allied advances grow louder, creating a new kind of tension. The fear that liberation might come before their magnificent bird can take flight. As spring of 1945 approaches, the glider is nearing completion. The final assembly pieces are in place, the fabric taut, the controls tested. The team is ready. The pilots, selected for their skill and daring, prepare themselves for the ultimate leap of faith. All that remains is the signal, the perfect moment when the winds are right, the guards are distracted, and the window of opportunity opens. But the world outside Colditz is moving even faster. The Allied armies are closing in, their advance inexorable. The sound of distant artillery, once a faint rumble, now becomes a distinct, booming presence, shaking the very foundations of the ancient castle. The prisoners listen intently, trying to discern the direction, the intensity of the fighting. Every explosion is a double-edged sword, a promise of freedom, but also a threat to their meticulously planned escape. The German guards, too, sense the shift in the tide of war. Their patrols become more nervous, their demeanor more agitated. The atmosphere inside Colditz is electric, charged with both hope and uncertainty. The escape committee debates the wisdom of launching the glider now. The risk of being shot by retreating German forces, or even by advancing Allied troops mistaking them for enemy combatants, is significant. Allied command has issued warnings to prisoners to cease escape attempts, as recaptured prisoners are being summarily shot. This grim reality weighs heavily on the decision-makers. Goldfinch and Best, along with Tony Rolt, argue passionately for the launch. This glider represents years of secret labor, immense risk, and the collective hope of hundreds of men. To abandon it now, on the cusp of completion, feels like a betrayal of their own ingenuity and determination. But the escape officer, pragmatic and responsible for the lives of all prisoners, makes a difficult call. He decides to postpone the launch. The glider, the magnificent Colditz cock, remains hidden, fully assembled, a silent monument to an unfulfilled dream, awaiting a fate it will never truly experience. The morning of April 16, 1945, dawns with an unnerving quiet. The distant rumble of artillery has intensified overnight, now a continuous, throbbing heartbeat against the ancient stone walls of Colditz. Inside the castle, a tension unlike any before grips the prisoners. The German guards are agitated, their usual rigid discipline fraying at the edges. Whispers spread like wildfire. American forces are close. Very close. Bill Goldfinch stands in the hidden attic workshop, the Colditz cock looming large in the cramped space. Its linen skin, stiffened with millet porridge, gleams faintly in the meager light filtering through a tiny crack. The wings are attached, the control wires taut, the two-man cockpit ready. He runs a hand over the smooth fuselage, a phantom touch of the wind it was designed to embrace. Beside him, Jack Best shares the moment, a silent acknowledgement of their shared journey, their years of clandestine labor. The air is thick with the smell of wood and fabric, the scent of a dream about to be realized, or perhaps, tragically, to be forever grounded. Suddenly, a commotion erupts from the courtyard below. Shouts, not of German commands, but of English and American voices. The sound of heavy vehicles, not the usual German patrols, but something different, something larger, more powerful. Footsteps pound on the stairs, not the measured tread of goons, but a rapid, disorganized clatter. The prisoners in the main attic space scatter, their lookout posts abandoned. A thunderous crash echoes through the castle, followed by a chorus of cheers. The main gate, the impenetrable barrier, has been breached. The Americans are here. Goldfinch and Best exchange a look, a mixture of profound relief and an almost heartbreaking disappointment. Freedom. It has arrived, but not on the wings of their meticulously crafted glider. Not through their own daring, but through the overwhelming force of the Allied advance. They hear the sounds of American soldiers moving through the castle, their voices booming, their boots echoing on the stone floors. The guards, it seems, have offered little resistance. The fortress, once a symbol of Nazi control, is falling. Footsteps approach the attic, heavy, confident steps. The false wall, so carefully constructed, so ingeniously hidden, now seems flimsy, almost transparent. The trapdoor, their secret entrance, feels exposed. The door to the main attic bursts open. American GIs, grimy and armed, flood into the space, their eyes wide with the surprise of liberation. They scan the faces of the gaunt, cheering prisoners, then their gaze falls upon the far wall. One of the soldiers, a young man with a helmet askew, notices a slight irregularity in the stonework. He approaches, curiosity piqued. "What's behind here, fellas?" he asks, his voice cutting through the celebratory din. Goldfinch steps forward, a wry smile touching his lips. "Something quite remarkable, I believe." With a nod from Goldfinch, a few prisoners move to the false wall. They begin to dismantle it, revealing the secret workshop, the hidden space. The American soldiers watch, puzzled, then astonished. As the last panel is removed, the full form of the Colditz cock glider is revealed, pristine and ready for flight, bathed in the sudden rush of daylight. Silence falls. The cheers subside. The American soldiers, who have seen unimaginable horrors and countless acts of courage, stare in stunned disbelief. They examine the glider, touching its fabric skin, tracing the lines of its wooden frame. They see the ingenuity, the desperation, the sheer audacity of the plan. This isn't just a machine, it's a testament to the uncrushable spirit of men denied freedom. Goldfinch and Best stand beside their creation, a quiet pride in their eyes, mixed with a touch of melancholy. The glider, their magnificent bird, will never fly. Its purpose, to carry them to freedom, has been rendered moot by the arrival of the U.S. 69th Infantry Division. The moment is bittersweet. The dream of flight is over, but the reality of liberation has begun. The Colditz cock remains a silent witness to the end of an era, a symbol of hope that, though never airborne, succeeded in keeping the flame of resistance alive. The Colditz cock, Bill Goldfinch's audacious glider, never takes flight from the castle roof. On April 16, 1945, American troops of the U.S. 69th Infantry Division liberate Colditz Castle, ending the long internment of its prisoners. The glider, discovered by astonished American soldiers in the attic, becomes an immediate legend, a powerful symbol of the indomitable spirit of Allied prisoners. Its existence, revealed only after liberation, cements Colditz's reputation as a hotbed of ingenious escape attempts. After the war, the original glider's fate remains uncertain. It is believed to have been destroyed, possibly for firewood by Russian troops or deliberately by New East German authorities who found its fame irritating. However, Bill Goldfinch, ever the meticulous engineer, retains his original plans and drawings. These detailed blueprints become the key to preserving the story of the Colditz cock. In the years that follow, Goldfinch transitions back to civilian life, working as a borough engineer in Poole, Dorset, and later as acting city engineer of Salisbury. His passion for aviation never wanes. In the 1970s, he builds and flies a Luton miner from Old Sarum Airfield well into his late 80s. Even in his final years, he dedicates 5 days a week to constructing his own version of a 1920s U.S. Navy seaplane. He dies on October 2, 2007, at the age of 91, having worked on his project just the day before. The legacy of the Colditz cock truly takes flight decades later. In 1993, a 1/3 scale model of the glider is launched from the castle roof during a visit by former prisoners. This successful flight offers a glimpse of what might have been. Then, in 1999, Channel 4 commissions a full-scale replica, built to Goldfinch's original specifications, for a television series. Using materials available to the original prisoners, a team constructs the glider, with Goldfinch and Jack Best eagerly observing its progress. In 2000, this replica successfully flies, reaching an altitude of 700 feet during a 3-minute flight from RAF Oldham. This momentous event provides irrefutable proof that Goldfinch's design was not just a dream, but a fully flight-capable aircraft. The Colditz cock stands as an enduring symbol of human ingenuity, resilience, and the unyielding desire for freedom in the face of overwhelming adversity. It represents the collective effort of hundreds of prisoners, each contributing their skills, their courage, and their hope to an almost impossible dream. Though its wings never carried men to liberty during the war, its story continues to inspire, reminding us that even in the darkest of times, the human spirit can soar. If this story moved you, subscribe. New forgotten stories every week. Which moment surprised you most? Comment below.